say you're very bullish on GME for January, right? You think GME is going to test $300 again. Well, you don't want your calls to expire while it's testing that, right? So you want to look out at like February. Now, if you think GME is going to test $300 in February, that call option is $11.60 times 100. Which means it's 1100. Nope, $1,160 for a call. Sorry. 300C. Now, what does that mean? Right? That means for $11.60 per share, you get 1 share of GME. Now, would you buy GameStop at $11.60 a share? Because I fucking would. Now, sure, you have to buy 100 at once. $11.69. Now, say you're the average retail investor and you have $1,000. And you're like, how many shares of GME can I buy? Well, you can buy 5. 5 shares. Or you could buy a far dated options contract and have access to 100 shares. What if it's not in the money? I mean, the price only has to hit like, for a February contract to print, the price only has to hit like 225 for a February 300 to go to be worth to have value. Do you think Warden's sister will lend me some money lend me some cash for weeklies if we hit 160, 250? But those Greeks though, but you're paying for so much theta, right? Theta is what you need on GameStop. You don't care about, like, sure, having a 180 is better than having a 300. But if you have enough time on either one, they will go in the money. Or they will print. They will have value. Their value will increase. Now, if GameStop goes significantly above $300, right? Say in January, GameStop hits $1,100. Now, all of a sudden, you have an intrinsic value in your shares of $800 a share. But instead of having 5 shares, you have 100. You can exercise those shares, which then puts additional pressure on the short hedge funds that are trying to find shares to cover with. Why? Because you have a contract that gives you a right to those shares. Porsche owns something like 33% of Volkswagen in options. The hedging of those options represents far greater value than the hedging of an individual share. Now, if you're a little guy and you got to fight a great big motherfucker, what do you need? You need to get him on the ground, right? Where you can use leverage against him. Weapons, a slingshot. All right, never mind. I honestly don't know that much about CFDs. I know kind of how they work, but I've never used them. People are very confused about what price you will pay when you exercise the option. I don't think people understand how the strike is relevant and how that affects exercising. Well, if you have a $300 strike, right? This is your strike price. That means that you have the right, but not the obligation to buy 100 shares of GameStop at $300 a share. So if the price goes to $600 and you have $300 of intrinsic value plus your IV, your implied volatility on that contract, your contract will be worth more than the shares it represents. So in the worst case scenario, if you have no cashless exercise option, you can sell the contract and immediately buy 100 shares of GameStop. If you have 2 contracts, you can sell one and exercise the other and still have netted a profit. Did you just explain the RC tweet? Shh.